Hi, now let's concentrate on steps in respiration or mechanism of respiration. Respiration is very essential life process of all living organisms. Respiration is responsible for releasing energy. The only life process by which energy released is respiration. The food material which is taken by the process of nutrition is digested, and from the digested food material energy is released, that is only in the process of respiration. So respiration can make the energy available to all the cells for continuation of all metabolic activities and for the survival of living organisms. So respiration is very important process, but how respiration occurs? What is mean by real respiration? What happens in respiration? What steps are present in respiration? We will discuss all these things now clearly. Generally we think that only inhalation and exhalation, that means only taking air or breathing in and breathing out is respiration. That is not complete respiration. Just breathing in and breathing out is not complete respiration, but that is simply a part of respiration. Respiration externally appears very simple process, but it is very complex process. Though it appears simple, it is very complex in nature. Why it is complex in nature? Just let's have a concentration on all the steps of respiration. Now let's have a glance over this. Mechanism of respiration or the steps present in respiration. There are 5 steps in respiration process. The steps are like this. First one, breathing. The second one, exchange of gases at lungs level. And third one, transportation of gases by blood. And fourth one, exchange of gases at tissue level. And fifth one, cellular respiration. Like this, different stages are seen in respiration. What happens in all the stages? Just see one by one. First one, breathing. What is mean by breathing? Breathing means exchange of gases between lungs and atmosphere. The air from atmosphere enters lungs. How the air transport to the lungs? There is a way for the transportation of air. The way is respiratory system. This is human respiratory system, by which the air enters the lungs and the air comes out of the lungs into the atmosphere. So first, what happens? The air from atmosphere, here, it enters through nostrils, and nostrils to nasal cavities, and nasal cavities to pharynx, and pharynx to trachea, trachea to bronchi, bronchi to bronchioles, and finally the air reaches alveoli. Alveoli are the structural and functional units of lungs. That means the air finally reaches lungs. And what is happening again? The air is moving back from lungs to atmosphere. How? However it entered, through the same way it comes out of the lungs. First of all, the air from alveoli, it comes to bronchioles, bronchioles to bronchi, bronchi to trachea, trachea to pharynx, pharynx to nasal cavities, nasal cavities to nostrils, and nostrils to again atmosphere. Here, in breathing, we can observe 2 steps. First one, the entry of air into lungs, and second one, exit of air out of the lungs. Entry of air into the lungs, that means transportation of air from atmosphere to lungs is inhalation. That is also called inhalation, and other name is inspiration. And the exit of air from lungs to atmosphere, that is exhalation or expiration. Here inhalation plus exhalation is commonly known as breathing, or inspiration and expiration is commonly called as breathing. Air coming from atmosphere to lungs and lungs to atmosphere, this is what breathing. But here one thing we must understand, how the breathing is possible, on which basis, on which formula, on which mechanism the air from atmosphere coming into the lungs, and on which basis the air from lungs going back into the atmosphere. What is the formula here? Yes, for these respiratory movements, here 2 organs involved especially. The organs are diaphragm and ribs. What are ribs? Ribs are nothing but the bones present in our chest region. The bones which cover all the internal parts in chest region or in chest cavity, they are the ribs. And next one, diaphragm. What is diaphragm? Diaphragm is a divider between chest cavity and abdominal cavity. Here, this is chest cavity, and downside we have an abdominal cavity. Now these 2 cavities get separated by a divider. The divider name is diaphragm. So diaphragm divides chest cavity and abdominal cavity. Here diaphragm and ribs play very important role in respiratory movements in exhalation and inhalation. How the ribs move forward, slightly the ribs move forward and the diaphragm gets contracted. That means that undergoes contraction, that is pulled slightly down. So during inhalation, diaphragm is pulled down and ribs move forward. What happens automatically? The space inside the chest cavity increases. Volume of chest cavity increases. If volume increases, the pressure of air decreases. We know that air generally move from higher pressure area to lower pressure area. So here lower pressure area is created during the inhalation. So the air from atmosphere that enters into the lungs, because here it is lower pressure area. And again, what happens at the time of exhalation? During exhalation, the ribs move backward and the diaphragm comes back to normal position. Diaphragm relaxes. That means it is pushed up, so that ribs are moving backward and diaphragm is pushed up. So what happens? The volume of chest cavity decreases. If volume of chest cavity decreases, pressure of air automatically increases. Higher pressure area is created in lungs. So from higher pressure area, the air move from lungs to atmosphere that comes out of the lungs through all the parts whatever we have mentioned so far. Exhalation and inhalation is controlled by ribs and diaphragm, so that air continuously comes into the lungs and continuously comes out of the lungs. Like this, breathing process is continued. This is the initial part of respiration, but here not complete respiration, just it is a step in respiration. Like this, breathing occurs continuously. And next one, exchange of gases at lungs level. That means gaseous exchange occur at lungs level. Here, let's try to understand clearly. This is an alveolus and this is bronchiole. Bronchiole supplies air into the alveolus. So all kinds of gases comes into the alveolus, and every alveolus is connected with a small blood capillary. Blood capillary is a small portion of blood vessel or very small branch of blood vessel, generally arises from arteries and veins. So these are blood capillaries. So in this there is blood. Blood generally red in color, that is due to the presence of a pigment, a hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a pigment which gives red color to the blood, and it also involves a main function, that is transportation of oxygen and carbon dioxide to all the body parts. So hemoglobin involves in transportation of gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide. When hemoglobin is combined with oxygen, that forms oxyhemoglobin. When hemoglobin combines with carbon dioxide, that forms carboxyhemoglobin. Here, oxyhemoglobin, HbO2, that is oxyhemoglobin. HbCO2, that is carboxyhemoglobin. So here what happens at the time of exchange of gases in alveolus? It is alveolus. How gases exchange occur? Let's see. Here, inside the alveolus, all the different kinds of gases are present. And now, inside this blood vessel, blood capillary, there is carbon dioxide. The concentration of carbon dioxide more in blood than the concentration of carbon dioxide in alveolus. So what happens? Here is a formula. The formula is diffusion. Diffusion means movement of molecules from higher concentrated area to lower concentrated area. As the concentration of carbon dioxide is more in blood comparing to the concentration of carbon dioxide in alveolus, the carbon dioxide moves from blood into alveolus. Carboxyhemoglobin gets separated, so that carbon dioxide gets separated from hemoglobin and that is released into alveolus. In return, the concentration of oxygen is more in alveolus than the concentration of oxygen in blood, so that the oxygen from alveolus moves into blood. Then it combines with hemoglobin, it forms oxyhemoglobin. So here, exchange of gases takes place in alveolus. And third step, after exchange of gases, what happens? Here carboxyhemoglobin is releasing carbon dioxide into alveolus, again it is receiving oxygen and again it is getting converted into oxyhemoglobin. And after formation of oxyhemoglobin, where does it move? Where does it transport? Then the answer is third step, transportation of gases by blood. After the exchange of gases, that means oxygen from alveolus is transported into the blood and carbon dioxide from blood is transported into alveolus. Like this, exchange of gases gets completed, and after that, the oxygen taken by hemoglobin is transported to all body parts by blood vessels. That means the blood transports indirectly, hemoglobin transports oxygen from alveoli to all the body parts, that means all the tissues. So this is third step, transportation of gases by blood. Here we can understand, this is alveolus. From this alveolus, oxygen is taken by hemoglobin, so that oxyhemoglobin is formed. This oxyhemoglobin is transported by blood vessel and finally reaches all the tissues, that means the cells, all the body parts. This is third step. And fourth step, exchange of gases at tissue level. Already we understood the exchange of gases at lungs level. In lungs, gases exchange occur. And here one more time, gaseous exchange occur between the cells and the blood. At first time, here in lungs, the exchange of gases occur between the alveolus and the blood. But second time here, exchange of gases occur between the blood and the cell. How exchange of gases occur here? Very simple. Here, hemoglobin carries oxygen from alveoli. Here, the concentration of oxygen more in the blood. The concentration of oxygen is less in cell. So, by the process of diffusion again, the oxygen gets separated from hemoglobin and that is transported or that is released into the cell. And carbon dioxide concentration is more in the cell. So, carbon dioxide is taken by hemoglobin back into the blood and that forms carboxyhemoglobin. So, the blood releases oxygen into the cell and cell releases carbon dioxide into the blood. This is exchange of gases at tissue level. And final, fifth stage is cellular respiration. Cellular respiration is very essential step of the entire process of respiration. This is what the original respiration. Why it is very important and why it is original process of respiration means it is responsible for releasing energy which is essential for continuation of all metabolic activities. So from the food material, energy is released. Where the energy is released inside the cell. So this process occur inside the cell. So this step is also called as cellular respiration. And what happens in cellular respiration means here hemoglobin releases oxygen into the cell. The oxygen is directly transported into an organelle, mitochondria of a cell. Mitochondria are the very important organelles of cell in which important process, that process named cellular respiration occur inside mitochondria. Mitochondria is a site or it is a place for carrying out cellular respiration. So directly the oxygen moves into mitochondria and one more thing is required. Cellular respiration means releasing energy from glucose. Glucose releases energy when it is combined with oxygen. The food we take is digested. The digested food contains energy, but energy is not released until the oxygen gets combined with food material. Here, glucose releases energy when it is combined with oxygen. So here, the blood releases not only oxygen into the cell, it also releases glucose into the cell. The oxygen directly moves into mitochondria. But here, inside the cell, glucose undergoes some changes. What changes? First of all, glucose is broken down into two pieces. It forms two molecules of pyruvic acid. So, breakdown of glucose to form two pyruvic acid molecules is this process is glycolysis. Glycolysis, glyco means glucose, lysis means breakdown. Glycolysis means breakdown of glucose to form pyruvic acid molecules. So, glucose is broken down and pyruvic acid molecules are formed. Then these pyruvic acid molecules move into mitochondria. So here, what happens in mitochondria? Pyruvic acid molecules combine with oxygen. That means indirectly glucose combine with oxygen. When these pyruvic acid molecules combine with oxygen, they release energy as well as carbon dioxide gas. And this carbon dioxide gas is waste product, it is waste material, it has to be eliminated from the cell so that carbon dioxide concentration increases by the process of this cellular respiration so that the carbon dioxide to be eliminated. So hemoglobin receives carbon dioxide from the cell and it forms carboxyhemoglobin. Like this, in cellular respiration, carbon dioxide gas is formed and energy is released. Out of this total energy, some energy is converted into ATP. ATP means adenosine triphosphate. These ATPs are stored in mitochondria for future use. When the energy requirement arises, ATP again breaks down and releases energy. That energy is utilized for running the metabolic activities. So ATP is utilized as storage of energy for future, so that it is also called as energy currency of a cell. And remaining energy is converted into heat. That heat helps in maintaining our body temperature constant. So we have our body temperature 98.4 degrees of Fahrenheit or 37 degrees of Celsius. That is constant. How it is maintained constant? That is maintained constant by the continuous releasing of energy, which is converted into the form of heat. By that heat, our body temperature is maintained constantly. So the total energy, out of this total energy, some energy is stored in the form of ATP, some energy is released in the form of heat. From that heat, that small portion of heat is continuously released out during the process of exhalation. We can feel that by keeping our finger at the tip of the nose, and we feel the release of energy in the form of heat during exhalation. And here, mitochondria involving in very important function, cellular respiration, and that is responsible for releasing energy, so that mitochondria is also known as powerhouse of a cell. Like this, inside a cell, so many important changes occur, so many important steps occur. So cellular respiration is very important step in the entire process of respiration. So in this process, energy is released. Like this, energy is released in the process of respiration, but that is in the step of cellular respiration. So we understood so far, respiration is not a simple process. Respiration is very complex process, and in these 5 stages are seen. First one, breathing, and second one, exchange of gases at lungs level, the third one, transportation of gases, and fourth one, exchange of gases at tissue level, and fifth one, cellular respiration. In all the stages, some kinds of changes occur continuously, and finally glucose and oxygen combines with each other to release energy. That energy is responsible for maintenance of all metabolic activities and for the survival of organism. So this is the mechanism or the steps of respiration.